indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday night. Hi, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all, well, not Saturday night for most of you. So it's actually kind of Doctor Who time for most people out there. You know, I feel somewhat honoured to inherit the old Tom Baker slot. You know, who were. And no, I'm not talking about Lala Ward. Ha ha! A rum pom pom. Sexist jokes, misogyny, and I'm under a minute in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is why you patronize me wherever you can find me. You'll find me over here in exile. It's kind of a kick in the ball, but I'm kind of enjoying the time off, to be honest with you. Well, I'm going to be enjoying the time off. It's and you know, listen, my wife is going to America, not this Monday, next Monday, right? For my niece, is it? My who's where? It was my 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 niece wedding. Yes, I have a cough. You may notice. This sounds a lot worse than it is, right? It just can't stop coughing. Yes, no, it's really it. But other than that, other than looking, it sounded awful. It's really not so bad. Let me tell you. It's really not so bad. Oh, it's better. Anyway, so she's going in like Monday week, right? I am 50-50 if it's going to happen, right? Because I think things. Look, I've been saying this for a long time, right? A long time. But I think this week is the week things could get very odd, right? According to my like weird religious timetable. You know, if we're on the timetable that we appear to be on, right? And if we're not, we're not. It's all cool. Today was Sabbath, right? Today was Sabbath, and the Sabbath called Parshas Zachor, right? What's that mean? It's a Sabbath where you're supposed to, you have this weird commandment from God, right, to the Jews, just the Jews, and to remember the nation of Amalek and ultimately completely eradicate them from the world, which is like a genocidal command from like a loving God to a nation of accountants, right? Who, let's face it, we got quite a good military, but essentially a nation of very good accountants and doctors too, with lots and lots of proud mothers, right? That's basically what's going down there. So it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird on a lot of levels. Firstly, who is Amalek, right? Amalek is this. They're like the Captain Black to the Jews' Captain Scarlet, right? They are our nemesis. They want to destroy us. Three times they have risen to destroy the Jewish people. Let me think. The first time was when they were part of the nation of Edom, who Amalek is an offshoot of, right? They was it Edom? No. When was it? They were the first nation to attack the Jews after the Exodus, right? Everyone was like scared of them. Nobody would touch them, and they kind of like made them touchable again. So like, and essentially what they are is a Jew-hating force, and they literally are that, like a Jew-hating force that always rises when Jews are about to enter the land of Israel, and don't like genocidally do not like Jews, right? So yeah, I'm almost certain the last member, the last time we saw them was in the 1930s and 40s. You know, those naughty National Socialists, right? Although today we have some stragglers, I think, catching up now. Yeah, called progressives. Yeah, but those naughty National Socialists, I think, were the nation of Amalek. Anyway, so today, oh man, so today we have this commandment to remember this nation, right? So everybody has to go to synagogue. Basically, bottom line is, everyone has to go to synagogue and hear like these 3 or 4 lines read Bible scroll, right? And the weird thing, which recounts like Amalek, basically how they preyed upon the weak, right? That sort of thing. And the thing is, that means to an end has become an end in itself. People like go, yeah, I heard it, right? No, I'm not sure how many people actually remember Amalek, right? So, like, who is Amalek, right? Why does God bring Amalek to the Jews? So the answer is this: there's a fable of a guy, a father with I've said this before, a father with the kid on their shoulders, right? And eventually the kid forgets the father's there and asks a stranger where his father is, right? So the father takes the kid down and puts him on the ground, and a dog comes and bites him, right? So the dog is Amalek in that story, right? So essentially, it's when Jews forget God, or when people forget his falls of Amalek arises, right? And it's kind of like a dibbuk in how you one of the ways to deal with it, right? In the dibbuk is it dibbuk? No, that's the wrong word. He boggart, right? Dibbuk's a real thing. Dibbuk is a demonic possession. A boggart is in Harry Potter. That's not real. Right, the point of it is to the point of basically Amalek brings persecution to the Jews, right? So the point of that is to recognize the hand of God, right? It's like recognize it's the hand of a loving God, which is a really wild concept, right? But to say like the reason this has to come is so we can see beyond the surface, which we basically when you have your surface shattered, then you're able to see beyond it, right? And that's essentially what God wants. He wants you to see beyond the surface and see God's hand there. So why do I think my wife might not go to America, right? So this is why. Firstly, I was much more dodgy on the end of the world around September. I was like, I'm not sure now. Things seem to be pretty calming down to this being normal, right? And that it was. Things are just like, you get a Nordstrom 2, but nothing happens. I'm like, oh, fuck me then. Okay, then that's it. You know, like, honestly, if they can blow up Nordstrom 2 and nothing fucking happens, there's no end of the world happening, right? At that point, no one's doing anything, right? Like, okay then. But then we hit Christmas time, right? Which is like a sea change. And I saw the gas being added, right? Whoa. Things like and hitting H benchmark, you know, in the Jewish calendar, in the Kabbalistic calendar. You know, right? And if things have just sped up. And if you look at it again, you got to look at everything as facade and illusion, right? That's basically as I do, right? And if you look at God's hands behind it, you see these satanic forces, and I believe they are satanic forces, genuinely, right? I don't think it's a guy, I don't think it's that, right? I think it's more of a ethereal energy present in everyone, like a self-destructive energy, right? That's. But I think it's also spiritual nature as well. But that thing, that Satan, we call it, the Satan, right? That has been given dominion over the world for the last couple of years, and we see its power waning, right? That's the lens I'm looking at it through, right? And that's how we see these things, just narratives collapsing, right? Everything's collapsing, right? But Russell Brand just destroyed, who's not a Trumpian in any way, just destroyed the mainstream narrative on everything on Bill Maher this week, right? I have a couple of clips of it. It's really, so I think we might watch it. But it's what was I going to say? I've seen things speeding up. So anyway, this week we have Parsha Zachor, right? On Monday night. Is it Monday night? Yeah, Monday night is a holiday of Purim, and it's Tuesday night in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, you have it on a separate day if you're in a walled city. So don't worry, it's too complicated. Anyway, Jerusalem has it the next day, right? The holiday of Purim, and the point of the holiday is to see God's hands behind everything, right? Is to see that everything is facade and illusion. Now, a way I can see that happening, I can see God wanting to do something that will terrify everybody in the world, right? I'm absolutely terrified of it. Yeah, I can certainly. So if God's going to do that this week, that'll make sense, because at least this week, you have the basic knowledge, that the reminder to say whatever's going down, it's facade and illusion. Don't buy into the illusion, which is, I guess, why I never really bought into the illusion of the corporate narrative on anything. That and being brought up in the 70s. Oh, yes, that was good. Oh, I'll tell you, when you get old, yeah, I'm not saying it is as good. I'm not saying, but it's nearly as good as a blowjob, right? Oh. I'm not saying that as a kink, okay? No. I'm not saying, oh, hey, you want to give me a cup of tea? Yeah, no, that's not my thing, baby, right? I'm like much more normal. I mean, like, really, if my wife dressed up as Perry, I'd be like, well, that's a bit much. I like it, but it's just a bit much. I feel silly. I don't want to be the Sixth Doctor. Really? I mean, like, I don't know. Okay, well, that's a weird thought process I just went to. If I was imagining myself having sex with Perry, which Doctor would I want to be? That's a weird question to ask yourself, but obviously Paul McGann, right? Obviously Paul McGann. There you go. I'm glad we came up with an answer, and it wasn't hard, right? And I use the word hard metaphorically, obviously. Anyway, so yeah, so so is she gonna go? Is she not gonna go? We're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out. I really don't know. I mean, like, all things being normal, obviously, but like, the reason I think when things started going like, again, another benchmark of things going crazy was the beginning of this month of Adar, right? During my last Sunday, right? I was starting the show late. I was freaked out. I had like this weird thing. I had blood gushing from me, and like it wouldn't stop bleeding. It was like not during the show. That's why the show was late. I was like, I was fine, but it was like weird, right? And then like my wife's been basically gone all week because her mother's brother just passed away, right? Yeah, elderly gentleman, lovely gentleman. Really, what a gentleman. Uncle Mac, like I'm saying, Karney Shomron now, which is the memorial prayer, like somebody takes on to say it. Normally the son does, but I'm like the only relative that's religious. Such an honor to say it for him, right? He's such a stand-up good person, right? I am. It really is, right? Like it's funny to look at it this way, right? But if you're in the position to donate time or money to worthy cause, you got to look at it as it's we call it in Judaism a zchut, like it's a merit. It's like a pat on the back that you're able to do that, right? It's God saying high five to you, right? So yeah, it's if you're ever in the position to help, it's always a good thing to do. Anyway, it's a bit much, but okay, Rabbi, what's a bit much? It's all a bit much, mate. Listen, once we go over this week and everything's normal, right? I'm gonna come down again, right? That's the upside, right? That is definitely the upside. Although, right. So yeah, we had the blood thing, right? And then my wife was gone, right? That was the night. This whole week, and she's like exhausted. The time she's been home and awake has been minimal, right? Minimal. So that's been going on. I got sick, right? I've been sick all bloody week. Got cough now, and my YouTube channel got a strike. So what do I think is going on with all this like weird, not that fun luck, right? What do I think? I think it's God. Petey Richard, Petey, here, because you're here, right? I kept another window open, right, so I could add you as a moderator, right? Sorry. There you go. Add as managing moderator. You are a manager, mate. Because that's just where I look at you. There you go. Doink, you're in charge. You have the con. Speaking of which, we're going to talk Star Trek. Man, deep dive on Picard, right? Look, let's look at this thumbnail. Because, look, I mean, end of the world notwithstanding, and this is the point I keep trying to make. This is why I keep talking about it. If shit goes crazy, don't panic, right? That's what I'm saying. If shit goes crazy, don't panic. Think of the Rabbi. Lay back and think of England, right? That's what I say. Because I still think this is going down. I think both things are true, right? I think we're entering a new golden age. In fact, you're going to say this is crazy, which is fair enough. It is crazy. It's totally crazy. I think this complete turnaround in genre, which is what we're fucking seeing. Don't delude yourself, right? Do you think I can manage? It's like Crossroads Motel. And the Rabbi's what about, do you think? There's complete turnaround we're seeing in genre, and it is a complete fucking turnaround, right? This thumbnail represents reality, right? It represents absolute reality. They've changed their tune and everything, right? They're doing everything we want now. We have won the culture war, right? So I think that's because I think for some reason this is on the cusp of a spiritual wave, right? I think this is gonna, just as the evil, and I'm not exaggerating. It's hyperbolic, but it's also true, right? The evil that engulfed our fandoms, right? And it was pure fucking evil, engulfed our fandoms, and they washed away as if they were like smoke, right? They just turned to nothing. I think that's going to happen in the real world, right? Just as they infected reality with their insanity, with their pronoun, which is totally normal. Men can have babies and periods, okay? Not fucking around with anyone, okay? Men can have babies and periods, according to YouTube. I will not argue with that policy, right? You do you, baby. You do you. That's all I can say. Yeah, life and occupation. But yeah, I think this is going to affect. I think it's going to go the other way. I think it's going to go as quickly as well. Man, it really did go as quickly. It's Star Trek's awesome. I really think this Picard is some of the best Next Generation I've ever seen. I mean, it really genuinely is. It's I can't think of like, I'm going through. I'm like, oh, best of both worlds. Well, that's good, but I mean, this is on another level. Yeah. What about now? So I have a guest on later to to discuss it with. So we got to get that first. I think Mando to me feels completely authentically Star Wars, right? Just as Picard feels completely authentically Next Generation, right? It really does. Much more so than the Orville ever did. Orville, what was that? Man, did they shoot themselves in the foot? Whoa. Did they miss a cultural wave, right? And that's what it is. Anybody who's still doing the woke crap looks like they're wearing bell bottoms. And why do you think they've hidden the Marvels opposite Dune, which is going to swamp it, right? And I still think things are going to get crazy this week. So put the two things together for you, right? But like this is the this is the way. and man, the stuff we're hearing about the new Doctor Who is freaking incredible, right? They got drones flying around the TARDIS set, right? They no, I think Seth MacFarlane. One second, let me chime in on this. I think Seth MacFarlane screwed Orville. I think he got to do what he wanted to do. Dick that he is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Seth. I think he's a decent bloke, man. But like, look, I think the times are coming where people are going to want to publicly disavow everything that's gone down in the last 5 years. I think that's going. I think Seth MacFarlane will do that because I think he's a stand-up bloke. Okay, even though he went woke, that's how much respect I have for him. Okay, I think that's a pretty high level of respect. Anyway, Mandalorian feels completely authentic Star Wars. Oh yeah, Doctor Who. They got drones flying around inside the TARDIS set to keep up with Shooter's performance. right? I don't know what it's going to be, but that sounds good to me, right? That sounds like that sounds like he's doing something really interesting, right? And everybody's seen it says it feels so much like Doctor Who. And again, I argue this about all the great Doctor Who's. I mean, Tom Baker, nothing like anybody before, super authentically Doctor Who, right? And I don't know. I had a nap this. I normally have a nap on Sabbath afternoons, right? I had a nap on Sabbath afternoon, and I thought to myself while I was in bed, the whole Jodie era may just about be retconned completely, right? It could be that that's not the real. It wasn't really Capaldi's regeneration, and it's gonna. And they've. I started thinking this because let's say Jodie fell out of TARDIS into the toy maker's realm, right? And the TARDIS she's found isn't the real TARDIS; it's the toy maker's TARDIS, right? It's a fake TARDIS. That means somewhere out there is a real TARDIS. Maybe there's a real Doctor in it as well. Maybe it's Gatwa, right? If it went straight from Capaldi to Gatwa, wouldn't that be great? I mean, like in this television landscape, wouldn't be surprised, right? Wouldn't be entirely surprised, right? I don't know. Let's wait and see what it is though. It sounds like too sci-fi to me though. Is what I would say. Anyway, let me get to the chat. And then we'll get to let's do the recap and review of Picard before our guest comes on, who I like to think of as a Star Trek expert, right? This is something I look up to in the realms of Star Trek. Jordan Lee is here. He says, what about cocaine Daleks? I never heard of that before. I never thought of that before. I have thought about Daleks getting high, right? I think there might be some like insane cruelty. The more cruel you are, they actually get off on it, right? I think like exterminating something is like ejaculating for a Dalek, right? I really do. I mean, look, they don't have a sex drive. They don't reproduce that way, right? And Davros wanted to make the ultimate killing machine, so have them have a death drive instead of a sex drive. That's what a scientist would do, right? And that's what number one. So I think the act of extermination is like ejaculation for a Dalek, right? I think that's why they like it so much. I think they they go, exterminate. You go, I'm coming. Same thing, baby. Same thing. That's what I say. It's. I think that's the way Daleks work, baby. I think that's just the way Daleks work. But so I don't know. I'd like to see a Dalek on some narcotics, right? That would be an interesting. There's a Dalek narcotic going throughout the Dalek society. That would be damned interesting. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. Unhinged here, and he says, "I love you." Well, I love you too, Unhinged. That's awfully sweet of you. Thank you. I don't know what to say. It's again awfully sweet. I like you too. I like you. I don't know. And look, dude, this like I'm normally a shaking hands type of person rather than a hugger, right? That just overwhelmed me. I mean, I love you too. I don't know you. I can't say now. I feel like I'm lying to you, right? Here's the thing. I don't know you, right? And I feel like I'm lying to you by just saying it back. I know. Well, I'm sure I would love you if I got to know you. How about that? I think that's fair. I don't want to lie. Unless I'm going to get laid. Yeah, no, that's my Lamborghini. No, I wouldn't do that. I would make a joke about that. Mr. Jekyll and Hyde is here. How you doing? Darren M is here. Greetings, felicitations, sir. Echithopsis solar engines. Where are we up to? Hell chat, says PD Rich. Hell be doing it. Mark the Vicar is here. I hope the world doesn't end this week. It's not going to end. I'd like to see next week's Mando if anything else actually happens. Oh man, I thought Mando was awesome. We're going to get to that next, all right? After Star Trek Mando and after Mando, a bit of Doctor Who, right? That's what I think. I think that'll be a good plan. Where are we up to? Like the life and crimes of Matt Hancock, it will come out at the end. What is the life? I keep hearing his name, but I don't under. Is he the guy who wanted to kill over his cat? I mean, he doesn't sound awfully popular, right? By the way, Soren says Star Trek good again. Cancel it now, Paramount, I guess. Well, here's what I'd love to see. I'd love to see Star Trek Picard get a huge bump because it become the most popular thing. Because it's qualitatively the best thing they've done. I mean, absolutely it is, right? It's I think it's better than Strange New Worlds, right? I love Strange New Worlds. I thought that was good. Dartmouth's get off killing. Exterminate is a reload function. Oh, interesting idea. Never thought that. Dave Mullen is here. I didn't know you were live. Just came by this video. Well, I'm very glad to hear. Where are you? Are you on Rumble or are you on YouTube or Facebook? I don't know. I'm intrigued. I would like to know where you are, Dave. Yes, yeah, listen, we'll get a daily. But again, it's kind of like cool because I feel like a lot less pressure on me, right? Because it's like this, and again, also I'm off tomorrow because it's my son's army graduation. Here, 1 second. He set some more pictures. Oh, hang on, it's waking up. Come on. Do I have to turn my phone on? Is that it? So yeah, it's his graduation into elite unit, right? And I think, dude, that's the other thing. Why would I be excited about being one? My kids are going to go right into combat. He has just finished his advanced training, right? He is ready to go. Can I show that? No, I showed that last time. This is like he sent us. It's him get to right. I mean, like I mean, the thing you got to remember about the army, it's a lot of fun if you're an 18-year-old kid. Here, let me show you what he sent us a video of him doing. I was over here. One doink, share screen. There you go. What's it? Hang on, let me go over here. So this is him using the big gun. He was very excited about it. Now, my other son, he was smart enough to turn around at the end of his video and wink, right? Because that's my other son. Oh boy, they are both halfway. It's okay. The other thing about Purim, funny thing, is people dress up, right? Again, the whole thing is to see facade and illusion, right? Facade and illusion. It's some people we have the thing of dressing up. So, by the way, if you want to come to Israel and be turned on a lot, just go to any secular city, right? Any secular city at all. Lots and lots of insanely hot girls, normally like 16, and it's terrible, right? I'm saying don't be 16. And they all dress up as the first word in their costume is always slutty, right? And it could be anything else. A slutty bunny, right? A slutty pig, a slutty doggy, a slutty princess, and a slutty schoolgirl, whatever it is, that and everywhere. It's like, oh my God. So anyway, so I normally stay home. So a slutty slut. Yeah, we got a lot of. So we got both my boys are very, very besotted with their girlfriends. I think they're both going to get married to them, right? I think we're seeing 1 or maybe 2 weddings this year, right? But they both have to dress up this year. They never dress up. It's so funny. The funny thing is, my older son took the piss out of my younger one for like saying he was so cucked, right? He will do anything his girlfriend said. And I said, you should be so lucky to want to do anything your girlfriend said. And now it's exactly the same. Yeah, Puerto Rico's Halloween, well, for dressing, I guess. Yeah. That is true, but also I didn't know you get very drunk. That's the other thing. I was trying to decide what I'm drinking this year. I normally do tequila, but I don't know, it's too heavy. I think I'm just going to get drunk on wine, like a nice wine. All the men are pervy, like pervy pilot. Yes, that's very true. It is true. Fine, let us get to what's it called again? Star Trek Picard. So again, for me, this thing has done the impossible, right? This thing has done the absolute impossible in that you can jump directly from, and I would recommend Insurrection, right to this, right? You can go. This is the best of Star Trek. This is definitely the best of Star Trek Next Generation. Here, 1 second. Let me get the screen grabs up. It's Star Trek Next Generation Greatest Hits, told in a good, interesting new story that's moved the universe forward, and it feels organic to this day and age without lecturing you weird shit like men can have babies, right? That's essentially what this is, just like Star Trek, right? And they got an opening much like the Strange New Worlds opening, but I like the detail. It's a next gen ship. I think it's tied as it goes whoa whoosh, woo, whooshy woo. And look, I'm not an advocate for drugs, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, but if you're super high watching this, it don't hurt. It don't hurt. So anyway, we start off. We're right in the action. And this is basically a great riff on this episode. And also a real great riff on Star Trek 2. Like, starts off and I didn't get the screen grab. You get the alert symbol, which they use all the time now, but that originated in Star Trek 2. And you also had the sound effect sounded similar. Right, it felt like you're in Star Trek 2 because they're doing the Star Trek 2 maneuver. They're into a nebula, right? Now, and they're being completely outgunned by this massive ship, the Shriek, which a great design. And we actually get answers this week. Incredible. So essentially, what's happened is Picard got a secret message from Beverly Crusher. Nobody's seen Beverly Crusher for 20 years. And nobody knows why. She's cut off contact with everybody. And they get there and they just find she's in a cryo unit, and there's a boy there about 20 years old who's very Captain Picard-esque, right? It's very obviously a dashing hero, but he's a medical hero. He's around saving, and he cons his way in places. He's a charmer, and he's a character, right? He's a character who you would like to see more of, right? He's kind of like an Arthur Daly for the good in Star Trek space, right? And Picard's son. Now, everybody sees this instantly, apart from Picard, right? Like, literally everybody sees this instantly, apart from him. So Riker's like, what, you're really not seeing this? So it doesn't get, it's only, he only really comes to realization of this when Beverly finally wakes up, right? Just as this giant ship is after Picard's son, whatever his name is, and the great villain, really great villain, right? And they're gonna give the son up, right? But it can't be next year. It doesn't have data in it. Give it time. It's going to have data in it. It's going to have data in it. It's going to have lore in it, I think. But I think lore's going to become data. I think data's coming back, right? So what's he going to say? So they're going to beam him over. He was trying to beam himself over because he's a hero. He's very heroic, Arthur Daly in space. Right, but then Beverly comes into the bridge and he looks in Beverly's eyes and he finally says it's his son. And then weirdly, Captain Shaw, Captain Shaw's goaded into saving them, right? He doesn't really want to be the guy who lets everybody die, but he's got to save everybody, right? But so he's going to hand the kid over, but I was like, belay that order. And he's like, Inga, was it? Make it so. Or it says his catch like, yeah, it's a bit. And as they start to go into battle with the Shriek, the evil villain. No apology from Picard. Actually, the opposite. He has a full-blown argument. Everything about this is great. Right? It feels like the character 20 years later. It's lovely, right? Great special effects, which I don't capture. Things are going bad, right? They got the medical heroes coming to help. Hi, we're medical heroes. Meanwhile, I think that's LeVar Burton's daughter, right? George's daughter is at the helm, which I love. Okay, I love it, right? I loved having Tamura Sulu at the helm of Enterprise, was it C or B or whatever it was? I love that. That's Star Trek, mate. Shaw's doing good. He's standing up. He's being Star Trekky. And they decide they have to go and hide, right? Evasive. So they go into the nebula. And by the way, I like the smoking villain. That's really good. What's her name? I'll look her name up soon. But she's excellent. She's very, very good. Very menacing. And we find out a lot more of them. Finally earning the fucking name. 17 seconds. Good time. Every title of this has been good. I mean, if you've ever heard John Coltrane's take on the Brigadier on Big Finish, the reason it's so good is not just because he knows how to mimic the Brigadier, but he also understands his performance so incredibly minutely well. It's as if Nicholas Courtney is making those acting choices because they are the acting choices he would make. It's really incredible. So in the same way, this is, I can't remember, Terry Metalis, right? It is so organically next generation. It again, but also it doesn't negate anything that came before. It kind of is already retconned that because of dead and this is an android. They change it more into like it was a kind of a treatment he was given. He's still the same person, right? So it's so transplants essentially it's been kind of quietly retconned away without you really noticing it. Also, directed by Jonathan Frakes this episode. I was going to say great directions, and it was Jonathan Frakes who directed it. It's good music opening again. They like the music openings there. Yeah, we know we're in Starfleet territory. I like this missing moment when Riker has had a kid and he's having a drink with Picard. He's talking about it, and also you get to see Troy for a second. I guess she's going to be in it later, but I get that's the way she can look. I mean, like I guess with look younger, right? I guess that's the way they're going to go with it. Anyway, he's just had a baby. Now he talks about this moment where he thought she was going to lose the baby, right? And he got a call from the sick bay. And so you better come down, Captain, right? And he could tell on the tone of voice something was wrong. The turbolift ride took him 17 seconds, the title of the episode, and it basically in that 17 seconds he became a father, right? So again, just good writing. Scott, wow, we haven't seen that in Star Trek for so long, right? It just is good writing, right? Now, present day, loving the Titans, definite feel of the Enterprise, going for everything, right? Absolutely working in every. Fine, we're going to take a slight detour, right? A slight detour. My expert witness is here. Now, I consider this person the Maven on Star Trek, right? They might not know what a Maven is, but there are a few people I say whose opinions I respect. I actually do. I totally respect his opinion on Star Trek, although strangely, he never was able to condemn Discovery, but we love him anyway. We love him anyway. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please if you're not subscribed to mine, which you almost certainly aren't. I'm in. You may not know. I'm on. I've got a community strike. So I'm here on my Exile channel, right? So basically, you can say it. Look, don't say anything bad, but basically, you can say Nick Nova's watching. It's groovy, baby. It's groovy. It's Keith from Home Media Minefield. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I like you to be had.
And and thanks for the kind words.
No, you are. You are the Star Trek. I like Star Trek. You actually know it in a lot more detail. So I was basically what I do with these reviews is I go through the whole thing and recap it. I was going to get this done before you came in, and then we could go back and discuss it. Do you want to come and do the recap with me?
Yeah, sure. Or I can come back later if you want.
Either way is groovy. Okay, I mean, like again, we're a bit loosey goosey here today.
Right. No worries. No, go for it. I will find it entertaining. Yes.
Stick around. So yeah, I got how many? I got 236 screen grabs to go through. I'm only on number 30.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So we started off. I gave everybody the recap, right? So from my perspective, You can go direct from. I would skip everything after Insurrection until Picard season 3, right? And you're not missing a beat. They fill everything in for you, right? And you're saving yourself a lot of pain, right? Keith, God bless you, mate. I challenge you to go back and watch season 1 or even season 2 without wanting to shoot yourself in the face. Now you've seen what real Star Trek is, right?
Yeah. No, I think what you say is fair. I think if somebody wanted to go from watching the next gen movies and then just jumping into this, it's doable. I mean, there are a few things that you might scratch your head about along the way, but pretty much they've done quite a good job of making this accessible to non-completists, if you like. So
right. Well, I mean, I'll have again for me. I think the first 2 seasons just weren't canon, right? I've just removed them from reality, right? Much as Discovery. I mean, like I like Discovery. Look, first 8 episodes had promise. Then Brian Fuller's notes ran out, and leave me alone, right? But although, again, I'm a big believer in the culture wars. Did you see the thumbnail I have for this episode, this stream?
I almost dread to think.
Okay, I will show you. There you go. Doink. So I'm a big believer.
Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. The golden age.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that the culture war's over, right? Yeah. And this is what they're saying. We are sorry about everything, okay? We realize we like you watching this stuff, right? We're going to do what you want now, okay? With no more trouble, Massa, right? That's definitely the impression I'm guessing. And by the way, the new Doctor Who sounds like it's going to be crazy, right? They got the TARDIS. I know you're not a Doctor Who fan, but the TARDIS set is apparently so impressive. It's so huge that they have drones flying around inside it, right? Because the new Doctor Who's got a very animated performance, apparently. So that's what I think. I think the culture war's over. I think Mandalorian's awesome too. I think this is just everything's been Mandalorian was pure Star Wars. This has been pure TNG, right? It's been fabulous. So anyway, fine. They're doing the Star Trek 2 maneuver, right? They're hiding it in a nebula, right? Did you? I'm sure you did. Did you catch the right as going in for the cold opening? The what was I going to say? The Star Trek 2 references. You had the alert symbol and also the sound effects. They were all just directly from Star Trek 2.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you had the red alert symbol, which actually was first seen in Star Trek the Motion Picture, but yes, does show up in Star Trek 2 as well. And you also had the the instrument used in the score is the same one as you had for Vija in
that was it.
Sort of thing. That's
the nebula cloud, right? The Star Trek nebula cloud sound.
That
was exactly it. And they did the same thing in the best of both worlds when they went into the nebula there.
Exactly. Right. And it tweaks that nostalgia, doesn't it?
Right. But at the same time, the story is a solid one. It's moving forward. It's exciting. And unbelievably, they've turned Raffi into a character I like. I'm interested in. That fits into Star Trek. How'd you do that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. In fact, funny enough, I just did and posted this afternoon. We did our Let's See What's Out There episode on the Home Media Minefield channel. And it's funny, actually, because I'm really loving this, but my co-host, Pete Mealy, is actually not enjoying this as much. And it's interesting because, well, he's just got some issues. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but there's things he's not enjoying about this. But I have to say, I'm just going along with the ride and loving it.
Okay, I'm not asking you to express it for it. I'm just I can't imagine what a criticism one could have of it is.
Well, I mean, I think he feels that it's a bit more sort of nihilistic than Next Gen typically was. I know this, and I understand what he means. But at the same time, I'm enjoying it. So
but again, I think that for me feels more organic because it feels like it's next generation, but move forward into current times without being the insane current times. Let's move forward into 2015 before everything went bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I said to him, we have to remember as well that, this is 23 years or whatever it is on from Star Trek Nemesis. So, a lot's happened in that time, as a lot happens in our world in 23 years, So,
it's been a strange 23, especially the last one. Look, the last two have been awfully odd. But the four before it were pretty strange too. Okay, special effects. I'm loving the movie quality effects. Loving the Titan. It's just everything about it is direct. Oh, this is directed by Jonathan Frakes. Right, yes. So they're on the silent running mode, right? Shaw's been great. So why do you think Shaw said okay to Picard last week when Picard's like, make it so, number one. I'm back.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because to be honest, that was one of the things Pete did have a little bit of a issue with. He didn't believe in that. How 1 minute he's saying, I'm not going to risk the lives of 500 people on this vessel for one life, meaning his son or whatever, and then once Picard actually reveals that it's his son, then he goes, yeah, let's go for it, engage, and all this, and he thought that was a bit of a U-turn.
I mean, it was a bit of a cliffhanger moment.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. I mean, I guess from his perspective, okay, imagine if I had to write the novelization, I would have his motivation being that now he realized Picard was on board, they actually had a fighting chance of victory, and they always felt bad surrendering. So again, so he basically just trusted Picard, right? That's basically what I think is going on.
Yeah. No,
anyway,
absolutely.
They're in the nebula. I 7 and 9 again. 7 and 9 totally feels like 7 and 9. I can't remember what the scene was about. She goes to the scene.
Yeah, that was a great scene where because I didn't mention this in my stream, so I'm glad you brought it up. This is a great scene where Geordie LaForge's daughter, I think Sydney LaForge is her name. She comes to Seven's quarters. Obviously, Seven is confined to quarters for insubordination, right. And she comes and knocks, and she basically does that little thing about how she considers her a friend, and she was a bit of an outsider when she joined Starfleet. Everybody assumed.
I remember. Yeah, that's the thing. We had more than one very nice character scene in this.
It's a lovely little scene.
Great balance.
It was a lovely little scene. What I find kind of interesting though is of course, at the moment she's a helms person in this, right. and in the red or the maroon or whatever color you want to call it these days. And of course, in the first season of Next Gen, that was what Geordie did.
I remember. Yes, I thought there was something a bit strange about that. You are correct.
Yeah. He was not actually promoted to chief engineer until I think season 2, and obviously then he went into the gold-colored uniform or whatever.
Right.
But so it's quite interesting that she's literally following in his footsteps there, and I like it because at the end of the scene she says, "Thank you, Commander 7." Which
yes,
smile.
That was nice. That was nice.
Because obviously, much as we like him, the new captain is referring to her as Commander Hansen. Which is interesting. But right. I quite like Captain Shaw. I know he's supposed to be a bit of a dick, but I actually quite like him.
Well, he's the Dick Captain in Star Trek Next Generation tradition, right? Yes. Captain Jellicoe, same thing, right? Yeah. Listen, you can see why he's a captain.
Yeah,
good negotiator.
Yeah, and Styles in the movies, obviously we're always talking about how this sort of borrows from the original Star Trek movies, and there's a lot of Star Trek 2 and 3 in this, and of course you had Captain Styles of the Excelsior, right? That got made. Right. Looked a bit of a buffoon at the end of that scene. So
it was a guy from Hill Street Blues. I remember.
Oh, that's right.
My prediction is when LeVar Burton shows up, he will reference he was the helmsman, right? I bet they're going to say he'll reference that at some point because they talk about that. Fine. Oh, fantastic scene. Okay, so we got Beverly helping out in sick bay, and her and Picard need to talk. Right?
Yes.
Bro, it's brilliant, right? So essentially, she said, look, every week you're in Next Gen, mate. Okay, like then the Florolians were going to kidnap you, and then you're replaced by a robot, and then you're this, and then you're that. Right? I need to bring up a kid. Although I think her experience was a bit extreme.
What I liked about this, I mean, I thought it was well written and well acted, and the good thing about it is, whichever side of the argument you wanted to sit on here, you can see both of their points of view, because Beverly's reasons for keeping Jack away, I think, are perfectly legitimate.
The sound. The sound.
But like especially in light of what's actually happening in this episode. But then on the flip side, what I think Picard said, which is really good in this, was it wasn't only about that she didn't tell him, but she never gave him the choice to be a father, and he was angry about that. And I really like this. I really liked. There's been some questionable writing over the previous 2 seasons of Picard, but this is top notch. This is really well written and beautifully performed by both actors.
Excellently performed. Really. I think they both did knock them out the park. And you always expect great performances from Picard, from Patrick Stewart. But I mean, this is certainly the strongest performance in this series so far. And this is the strongest performance I've seen since, I don't know, Days of Future Past, which I thought was very good. Then he was in that for 5 minutes. So basically, he's like saying he's lamenting the person he could have been, right? And they're like, fine, we'll just move on. Basically, then we got this lovely little scene with Riker just enjoying being around Jack. Like, now he can finally say, oh, okay, now I can recognize you, right?
And I think again, I'm not too sure whether I've got my dates and timeline and everything sort of straight in my head, but I think had Riker and Troy's son survived, he'd be about the same age as Jack.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense.
I think. I'm not sure, but I think that sort of would match up roughly. So I didn't think about that. They do reference that quite a bit. But it's nice that they have the interaction. Do you think these are all digital, right? You don't think these are models, because they look really. I think all the effects in this are the VFX are CG, I believe. But I mean, I agree with you when you say movie quality. Most definitely. You can't knock that about this show. I even used to say that when I was defending Discovery from people who.
That's totally amazing. It's gorgeous.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but the difference between this and something more traditionally CG, this model looks like it's built to be physical, right? It looks like it was built to be a physical model and photographed, and I think that adds to the feeling of it, right? The authenticity of it.
Yeah, I quite like the design there, because it kind of mirrors the sort of. It's got a bit of classic and a bit of new.
Right. You're looking at an Enterprise, right? I can't remember. Somebody wants to describe Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Jew Broad who kills Draculas, right? So if you want to be that general, it's an Enterprise, right? You can watch it with your girlfriend, and she'll be fine, right? That's actually one of the best things you can say about the show. Totally, you can watch this one with your spouse, right? There's So anyway, so then they're the strikes finds them again. They don't know how they keep finding them. Great confrontation, and they just get the shit kicked out of them, right? It was a very precise beating as well, right? She knew when to stop, but you get the bit everybody's kind of looking forward to. He's like, you sort this out, right? He's got blood dripping from his head, transfers command codes to Riker. What's the deal with the bald Vulcans? I've seen them before. Are they a cast or something? What's going on with that?
I don't know. I think we've seen bald Vulcans before, but I don't.
Yeah, we have. They're not universally bald, so I'm like, is that like kind of like it was in? I think it was in the motion picture.
Yes, it was. I don't know whether that is there's any relevance to that or not, or whether the actress that they cast happened to be bold. I don't know.
No, this was a choice. This was absolutely a choice.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know is the answer to that, but it's good to see a
so anyway, so now now we have this really nice dynamic with Riker in captain and Picard as like number one. Which oh great, we get a Riker maneuver, right? Straight away comes up with a Riker maneuver. They fire a photon. They don't have to shake it. They fire a photon torpedo and they blow it up, and the shock waves blows the streak away, right? So they get some breathing room. Yes, okay, but again, perfect Riker, right? That's just a Riker move. There you go. Well done. Do you think they'll do more after? Do you think this is? Do you know what the response has been to this so far?
I think fairly positive from what I gather. I'm one of those, because I tend to review these shows myself. I don't watch a lot of reviews simply because I don't want to be too influenced by what the echo chamber says. You know what I mean? So I tend not to watch a lot of them. However, I have heard that various influencers on YouTube that have quite big followings and whatever were actually sent this series as a screener before.
Oh yeah, I thought it was Richard Bryan Burnett, and nobody believed him. No one believed him. I didn't believe him. Why would we believe him?
Well, you know, they've all said good things about it, where previously they've been quite critical. So yeah, I think from the sounds of it, the show's doing quite well. But as I said, I go by my own barometer as to whether I'm enjoying it. I mean, they have said this is the last season of Picard. But then again, that doesn't necessarily mean that some of the characters from this won't show up at some other point, presuming they survive this show.
That's true. Look, I mean, it does seem to make a Riker show, again, presuming they survive, possible, right? It certainly opens the door for that. I would just like Terry Matalas get more work. Fine. So then I was kind of bummed.
He's doing some, you know, Terry Matalas. I'm liking what he's doing here. As I said, he's clearly a Star Trek fan himself, and he's thinking of the fans. And you know, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's fan service and all this," but there's nothing wrong with fan service if it's telling a good story. Right. So
right. Okay. This is what fan service is. A lot of the wokeness as well, for want of a better word, is the same thing. And I worked this out from watching Doctor Who in 1985. Right. Doctor Who in 1985 was not very good. It was a Colin Baker. I loved it. Right. I loved it, but it just objectively wasn't very good. Right.
Right.
And because because the script editor didn't really know what to do with the new Doctor, he had that awful code and just didn't. He was pissed off, right? He didn't know what to do, so they filled it with a lot of like this weird hyper violence that didn't really work at all, right? So it's when you don't know what to do, you fill with whatever's the thing of the time, which kind of worked in mid 80s. So now if you do that today, firstly it was wokeness, like Lord of the Rings. It was like they had no story, they had no idea what they're doing. They just had identity politics. That was the only thing that was really there, right? Because they didn't know what they were doing, right? In my opinion. But so fan service is the same thing. When you don't know what you're doing and you have no real clear vision, you put things in that you know fans will like fans like the original Bird of Prey. We'll do that, right? And they think that let's have about being Picard's long, deep, intimate relationship with Data, who he spent about like 20 minutes with on screen previously, right? I mean, that was it was just that's what fan service is. This is an understanding of it and a celebration of it. Like this image here, pure Star Trek. It feels like I'm in the Star Trek universe, where even when we're out Star Trek, right? Everything works. So I had a problem with this scene. My problem was like, what's going on? Okay, what's the name? Raffi wakes up after being saved. She was okay. There's a whole subplot. Raffi was the secret operative looking for this stolen tech that was used to, we're going to see in this episode, that was used to blow up Starfleet recruitment headquarters. And she tracked down the person. Her contact, who she didn't know who it was, told her, don't go, don't engage, do not engage, right? And she did anyway. Met a very cool Ferengi. I like that Ferengi a lot. Great action sequence. She gets saved by Worf, right? So we see Worf at the end. So she wakes up and she's with Worf. The problem I have with this scene is, I was like, what's wrong with Worf? This is really weird. I was comparing him to Worf in All Good Things, right? Because they look basically identical. Yeah, the future Worf and this Worf look, but this one sounds older. I couldn't work it out. The last one he sat, so I was like, why is his voice so weak? What happened? I was like, oh, it's not young Worf pretending to be old Worf. This is really old Worf, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course. Worf is old in this because Michael Dorn has aged, as opposed to aging makeup. But yeah, I do find the All Good Things quite interesting, because it would be, that alternate timeline would be approximately sort of where we're at now in the story, roughly. Right. And what's interesting is like the names of Geordie's daughters, and this is where I think again they've taken, from a writing perspective, they've taken a lot of care and attention to detail, because in that alternate timeline, Geordie, when he meets Picard, says the name of his kids. And you know what? The name of his kids are the same names that they're using in this show. And I think that's brilliant, because just because that's an alternate timeline, why would you name your children differently? You wouldn't necessarily, right? So little things like that, I actually think are really good. I love that as an attention to detail. Love it.
Is he married to Leia Brahms in this one as well?
I don't know. Don't know. Maybe we'll find out. But
is the actress still acting? Is the same person still around?
I don't know. Not sure.
She'll take the work, okay? She'll take the work. Fine. So, great scene with it. So this is a great subplot, right? This is a great way to bring Worf in. Worf was a covert agent, and he's a warrior, and he recognized a warrior-ness in Waffy. Waffy's a warrior. He's a warrior. They're warriors together. They're gonna be warriors, and they're gonna go to war. Essentially, let us go and find the people who did this, okay? And they're like, oh, okay, we'll be warriors. That's the same. I'm not missing anything out, right? That's essentially the scene.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, these two could get a spin-off show. You know what I mean? It would be,
exactly.
It could be quite entertaining.
No, this character just like suddenly, not just it's a character I like now, but it's a character that works inside Star Trek. I think again, it's about the material. Michelle Hurd, nothing wrong with her as an actor, very good, and all of this. The problem is the material that she was given in the first couple of seasons. 1 minute she was angry, the next minute she was okay. It was all over the place. Whereas with this, they've got a little bit of balance, and her chemistry with Michael Dorn really seems to work and really seems to gel here. Yeah. So I think it's taken them 3 seasons, but they finally found out what to do with this character, which is great. Yeah, look, they could have taken 15 seasons. It was just the right person in charge, right? So here's the question, though, because I think there is a massive sea change going in the entertainment industry, that they just don't want to look stupid having things that are very dated now. Having the the very woke stuff, it's like having bell bottoms. Like, when you got somebody lecturing you about climate change, it's just like everybody sees it now, and so they're all embarrassed of it. So, a double part question. Star Trek Discovery finally being put out of its misery after another 10 episodes. Thank God for that. I thought it was coming out this year, but it seems to be pushed back to 2024. I don't know if they announced it, but it seems to be pushed back to 2024. Do you think they're retooling it in this new environment to not be excruciatingly awful?
I'm not sure if that's the case. I think what's happened, I think the reason it's got pushed back is because when Paramount Plus decided to cut shows, it's a very expensive show to make. They'd made the 5th season. there were plans to make a 6th season, but I think the reason everything's got pushed back is I believe they're going to film some more stuff to actually make it have a proper conclusion. I suspect it may have ended in some sort of, like they used to with Next Gen, some sort of cliffhanger, end of season cliffhanger. and I think rather than, let's be honest, that would be even more annoying, right? If you watch the show and invested in the show.
I would love that.
I know you don't, but you know what I mean?
Not only that, I would actually prefer that. I would love them to screw the fans over of that too, right?
Oh,
yes. That would vindicate me. That would make me feel good in life, okay? Yeah, I know that makes me small and petty, but yes. Listen, we're all human beings, baby. What can I tell you, including Rabbi? By the way, I did want to try that narcotics you had last week. That looked pretty darn good. I just realized that guy's Bajoran. Okay, very nice.
Oh, nice, yeah. They again, they've done that very well this season. I noticed they've scattered a lot of the different species throughout all of Star Trek in this, and that's been really good. By the way, you mentioned Sneed the Ferengi.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, who was played by Aaron Stanford, by the way, who was the lead in 12 Monkeys, which was Terry McCallan's previous show. But I thought it was actually quite cool to see a Ferengi in this. And again, even though they sort of updated the look, they didn't do it in a way where it broke continuity, did they?
Yeah. It's like the gangster, the gangster rapper Ferengi.
Yes. Who got decapitated. They do like decapitations on this show. I have noticed that. that's something they've carried over.
But the thing is, they swear on this, they decapitate on this, but it still feels like Star Trek, whereas before it never did, right? So Picard, we got a nice scene with it, where they try and work out what to do. Picard and Riker, their interaction is just so organic, right?
I mean, the whole thing with the, why the previous shows were, didn't feature the other crew members. From what I understand from interviews and stuff, that sort of came from Patrick Stewart in many respects. Is he agreed to come back to the show, and they obviously made him a producer as well. And one of the things I think he stated in the original, like the first season and everything, is he didn't want it to be a Next Gen reunion series,
exactly.
But unfortunately that's not what the fans wanted. So
then essentially he had to stand around for about 3 or 4 years, coated in buckets of shit and pretending he wasn't, right, as people vomited the vile, awful shit he projected back at him, and eventually he decided, you know what, it's better not being made a fool. It's better to keep one's mouth shut and everybody think you're a fool than open it and remove all doubt, right? That's essentially they just
and I think
can't do it anymore.
And I think the wonderful opportunity they've got here, which so far 3 episodes in they don't seem to be blowing, which is great, is the fact that many people felt that Nemesis was it wasn't one of the better Star Trek movies, and it wasn't a nice send-off for the Next Gen crew in the same way that Undiscovered Country was for the original series crew. Yeah.
Right.
And this series hopefully is the opportunity to, whether they live or die, but is a way
if
of
they do the sign-off like they did with Undiscovered Country, that'll be lovely. That'll be
I'd love that. I mean, bearing in mind, that they're using, I'm loving the Jerry Goldsmith theme from First Contact that they're using in this. And imagine that music with the signatures would be amazing, wouldn't it? So,
Yeah. I you know what? I'm optimistic we'll see something like that, because again, Terry Matalas really understands what Star Trek is.
I believe
very good Star Trek character.
Yeah. I do believe he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe it. I like Picard's son. Very, very Star Trek-y character. Okay, very Star Trek-y moment. Yeah, look, the straight, uptight, by the book doctor, misdiagnosed Captain Shaw, who's about to die. and because they're field medics, they know. But Captain Shaw's like, what the are you doing? Like, look, like what? How are they finding us? And then Jack has an idea, right? Bald Vulcan, like the Bald Vulcan. They're on.
I also noticed that the Doctor is a trill. I don't know whether you noticed that, but the stuffy Doctor is a trill. Yeah. So
there you go. Zoom in. Hang on.
I don't know whether you can actually see it in that picture. But...
yeah, a little bit over there. Yeah. Oh boy, that wasn't worth the makeup, darling. It wasn't worth the makeup. Trust me.
Got the freckles. Yeah.
Right. But I did like Dax had the freckles went all the way down. It was on the Riser episode, they did that as well. They had to go like all down her body. I would have loved to be a makeup artist in that case. So he's looking around for stuff. Great special effects. And Shrike turns up again, right? They're about to escape. They're leaving the nebula. They got the warp drive repaired. They're about to escape, but the Strike finds them, and they fire their new weapon that they couldn't tell before. And it's basically a portal gun, right? So they keep getting dragged back into the nebula. They can't make it out to warp out. Great weapon. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of reminded me. I don't actually know the character's name, but in the X-Men, there was in fact, I think there was more than one character that could do this, that could create like a portal and jump through that and then appear somewhere else in the room adjacent and stuff. And yeah, this is an interesting bit of tech. I mean, I'm guessing this is something that they stole from the Daystrom Institute.
Right, it's the same thing that blew up Star Trek Recruitment.
I guess so. Yeah, it would make sense. I think it's similar technology, and yeah, I mean the way that Vadik uses it against the Titan here is
it's really clever.
Genius.
Yeah, it's really clever, right?
Yeah.
By the way, a couple of times in the episode they said there's energy and life readings inside the nebula, so that's clearly going to be a clever alien going to save them next week. Nobody panic, right? When I said that, they said, "Oh, that's going to happen." Right, so Wolf and what's his name go and they capture the bad guy, right, to interrogate him. Meanwhile, good action scene. They've worked out that somebody's there's some way they're tracking them, right? And they knock him out and they leave to work out the problem.
The knocking the guard out a bit. I did roll my eyes slightly.
Oh, come on! You love Star Trek 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't call me tiny, right?
Don't call me tiny. Oh yeah, great line. That's loving the red corridor light. So they find like this gas being released that it'll sabotage. Right, sabotage. And they tell Riker, and then the Bald Vulcan is like, I can't remember. So Picard's like, we now we have an advantage. We could use this to attack the Shrike, right? They're expecting to find us. They don't know we know. He's like, dude, they're gonna kill us. There's no way we'll survive that confrontation. Okay, so he gets that was only while turning off the leak. You see him ripple a little bit. They do see him ripple a little bit when they fight.
Yeah.
Right? So at first I thought that was some kind of like masking thing, right? Or some kind of like stealth technology. It didn't even occur to me it'll be a founder, which we're going to find out soon. There's a founder, right? Just spoiler warning. Like an hour in.
I guess presumably you did that at the beginning, yeah.
Nah. I mean, it's just kind of a known thing. I did when I repost it. I'll put a spoiler warning, but I'll put it on the thumbnail. So yeah, again, the reason Rabbi actually works in this series because she's got the latitude to be able to be more violent, right? Not full of Starfleet code. I like it's Wolf that's holding her back. right? And then you start to work out that it's a shapeshifter. Weird vision of 709 rescuing her, but okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm thinking that in that little sort of unconscious dream sequence thing that he has there, I'm sure this is foreshadowing something. There was some sort of clue in there. I have no idea what it was, but there's something going on.
I'm thinking that she's somehow connected to the technology of the ship through her Borg implants, right? And I think that's basically her relationship with the technology. But anyway, she saves him. Another great scene, right? I thought he was brown bread, right? I thought he was going to die. They call Picard.
I particularly thought it in so much as because this is again borrowing quite a lot from, Star Trek's 2 and 3. Yeah, I thought, well, maybe this character's going to die. Maybe his son's going to die, and whatever. And I did think that, particularly with the title of the episode and the story that Riker told him and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
fantastic writing. I love this scene. Echoes that scene we saw at the beginning. We haven't seen writing like this in years, and it's not that complicated. But it's just like it just shows care and attention, right? So yeah, Riker's go. Riker said the story here. The 17-second turbo lift ride. This is just before he came in, and so now he's reliving this. And in that 17 seconds, Riker became a father. This is when Picard's becoming a father, like when he thinks the kid's going to die. And I thought he's going to die as well. Gets there, and then a fatal couple times, but eventually, doink, they bring him back to life. Thank goodness. And Picard is happy, and he's a father. Meanwhile, back at the plot, we find out who the bad guys are, and they start to. He starts to Odo out. It's a changeling. Apparently, there's a faction of changelings that are still mad. Odo contacted Worf and said there's a faction of changelings that are still mad about losing the Dominion War. Did they lose, or was it like, I can't remember, how did that end?
Yeah, I again, I'm not a Deep Space Nine aficionado, but basically they came with. In fact, if I remember right, I thought they had some sort of weapon that could.
Oh yeah, that could wipe out the. That was it. They had a weapon that could kill the founders,
and they ended up coming to some sort of agreement, and they went back to the great. What do they call it? The great. I can't even remember what their terminology is, but they went back to that.
It was called the Great Link. Did you ever see the documentary What We Left Behind?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was very
excellent. Good. So in that documentary, they one of the parts of it is they have the original writers' room, and they break down the plot for a season 9 episode 1, which is kind of cool, right? And then that, I think, now Renee, what's his name, has passed away,
sadly.
But I like that he was referenced. Anyway, the bad guys are the changelings, right? There's a changeling on the ship, so it seems to be a bit overkill. You got a changeling, and you got a massively overpowered ship. I mean, okay, Picard's very much into like using this as an advantage to attack, and he's like saying, "No, this is your paternal instinct is kicking in. No, we got to save everybody." During his he turns into sludge, and they phaser it away. Jack's alive again. Meanwhile, the changeling puts an explosive on to stop them going into warp, and they're going to go and find the people. Supposed to go to the bush, and they can't go to warp. So finally, because you're out of options, you got to fight, right? You've got to fight, and reluctantly, Riker's like, okay. So they get there and they fire at them, right? But they fire the portal weapon, and then the same energy bolts, the torpedoes they fire at them, ends up disabling their ship, right? And they're screwed, and they go floating down. They're not going to survive. And he's like, remove yourself from the bridge. You've killed everybody. Dun dun dun. Yep. And great titles, just fantastic titles. We love next generation titles. This is next generation titles wank mag. It is perfect. Okay. If that's what you want, that'll do it for you. So yeah, basically, it's the the Great Link. PD Rich said is what it's called. I reckon the aliens inside the cloud will help them. Great story. Like it's a really organic story moving forward. Excellent, right? I think it's excellent. What do you think? What's your predictions for the rest of the series and the rest of Star Trek?
Right. I mean, my predictions are. I mean, I've avoided the trailers because I think, from what I've heard, there's quite a few spoilers in the trailers, so I've been trying to avoid that. Obviously, I know that Geordi and some of the other team come back. I'm wondering whether they're going to come into the rescue on the Enterprise F. I'm just wondering whether we might see that. Don't know.
That'd be nice.
Because let's be honest, the Enterprise is a character, right? And,
right.
Regardless of
that would be cool. That would be cool.
So I'm wondering
how do you see the shape of Star Trek playing over the next couple of years?
Well, I think it's in a good place finally, because I think between what they're doing here and Strange New Worlds, which I know you're a fan of, we've already talked about Strange New Worlds, which has been, I believe, greenlit for a third season as well. Excellent. So
I am nervous about Strange New World season 2, though, right? Because I think I'm nervous about season 2 of Strange New World, because I think changing the engineer for Carol Kane, you got that male-female balance it was off to start with, and it's more off now, right? So I'm worried about it, right? I that character was a real, really important lockstone.
I was really surprised. Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised. I mean, for a prequel show, where we know where a lot of them are going to end up, the fact that one of the most interesting new characters that wasn't related to anyone else in the Star Trek universe so far, and was a person with oh God, it's completely gone out of my head. I want to say impairment. Sorry, that's the word.
Okay, a disability.
Visually impaired. Yeah, visually impaired. And a really, really great character, an awesome sense of humor. I was sad. Obviously, it made that have more impact in the fact that we lost
somebody,
and all that. But I was kind of sad to see him go. I'm not going to lie.
Right. And I'm just not convinced.
I'm glad they haven't gone with Scotty. I was worried that they were going to go straight with Scotty, and I'm glad they haven't, because it's just too early for that. We could just about get away with the fact Uhura's on the bridge as well,
Yeah, but she's a cadet, and she's a very advanced cadet, and that all worked, right? I'm fine with that, right? And by the way, her arc was fantastic. There's that one shot at the end of her story where she looks at the communication bay, right?
Yeah.
And it's her raison d'etre that communicate, help people connect. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. That's so as beautifully directed. Absolutely lovely.
Absolutely, it was great. But I mean, in terms of answering your question, like, even when you think of when Star Trek was at its peak in the mid-90s, when we had movies and whatever, but we only had 2 shows running at the same time. It was either Next Gen and Deep Space Nine, or Deep Space Nine and Voyager, right? So we've never had more than 2 shows. We've obviously got 2 shows at the moment, and we've got the animated series, which they're kind of their own thing.
But
I mean, I don't know. There's talk of all sorts of other shows, whether or not they're going to.
Yeah, but all the ones they talked about aren't happening. The Michelle Yeoh isn't happening. Leave it alone.
Well, Michelle Yeoh could be an Oscar winner this time next month. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it kind of.
Winning an Oscar doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like
it's
lost its cachet.
But I don't know. I think they've got it. I think they finally found the balance.
I mean, look. But you know what? It's always a way when they find the balance is when the plug gets pulled, right? It's literally always the way. I guess we'll find out. One last question. I'm going to wrap up soon. I'm running out of steam. I don't have time to do Mando or anything. One last question for you. The controversial turning Picard into a robot, right? I feel has been subtly retconned this season. It's been turned into like it seems to be like it's a treatment rather than he's a robot body of him.
Yeah. I mean, they've you know, to be fair to them, they've not, because I wondered whether they were going to ignore it completely, and they haven't. They have brought it up. So, but they've really, it's almost like that thing that they briefly mention and then move on very quickly.
Right, exactly. It doesn't, it seems to be like, forget it, move on. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, that again was a problematic thing in the first season. I actually thought, you know, when I was watching that first season and I thought they were actually really going to kill him off, I thought, wow, that's a bold move. You know, props to you, Patrick Stewart, you know, and all this. And then, of course, seconds later, they completely undo it. And it's like, oh, okay. But I mean, I don't have a massive issue with it, but it's not great, is it? I think
in Doctor Who we had a similar thing where the 8th Doctor in 1996, when it was in one episode, said he's half human on his mother's side, right? So, and then we just totally forgot it ever happened. That's it. It got retcon saying that was only in that regeneration or so. It's like really, it's a weird. We just forget. Same thing. I think it's the same thing. Fine. Yeah. I think with that, you're on downstream in half an hour.
I am. I'm on the space book, which is again very kind of him to invite me on. As it was with you, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, listen, I think you are a important and valid voice in Star Trek critique. Right? I really are.
Thank you.
You know, in my perfect world, I would turn the BBC into a YouTube-esque app, right? And they'll still make their TV shows, but people will comment on them. And it will just be the people who are more popular. Their commentaries would rise to the top, and now you can make your own media. By the way, are you aware? I mean, this is good news for you. I say it's really easy now using AI to do like this time next year. You'll be able to make your own photorealistic Star Trek episode starring you.
Wow.
Like this thing, things
that would be a dream come
true. Have you seen the stuff?
I've seen. Yeah, I mean,
okay. Firstly, it
is quite scary. It is quite scary what AI can do now, and you know, there's a lot of. I don't want to take us down another rabbit hole here.
Months.
But sorry.
Yeah, because I got to go.
Yeah, no,
it's progressed so much in 6. And you're right. You're in Star Trek. You can be able to make photorealistic characters. It's it's still well. Matthew Pounder, it's freaking awesome, mate. And there's nothing to be skeptical. Give it a try. Is what I can say.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Give it a try. Fine. With that, I'm gonna hit the end broadcast button. I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm hitting it again, and the Wizzy Wall goes around and around and around.